Ty has had the ceiling that we all know with the bona fide prospect that he was in his Xfinity success. It hadn't translated to Sunday yet, but I think this opens the floodgate because it's all confidence.
It was great for Ty, great for Zilich, who's had a rough go in the O'Reilly race. Christopher Bell gets back into victory lane, and then there's a lot of other stuff going on. Every major series is just heating up. We're getting into the time where F1's back in full force. We got a big run for Cup and O'Reilly's. Formula Drift started this weekend.
Long Beach,
that was cool to watch some major upsets there. And we're getting, man, it's ramping up IndyCar for the Indy 500, so there's a ton of stuff to talk through, but we don't want to skip out on the Ty Gibbs. Having to beat Kyle Larson and Ryan Blaney. Ryan Blaney with the fastest car, and that restart.
On a tire
you're worried about Blaney, and he's looking down, and then Larson almost pokes it in 3 wide on the top. So it was such a good event, and just a lot of great racing this weekend. I think Bristol, the way it is now with the rubber on the bottom, the PJ1 on the bottom, and then the truck race didn't really get to see the migration of the top, but the little bit longer races got to see that migration of the top. The O'Reilly race was one on the top. Cup race was a photo finish. What was it, 0.0055 seconds? One more lap, Blaney would have got it. But
I think it has a lot to do with the downforce. The trucks, not only do they spray the PJ1 right before practice, and there's less guys committed to running the top in the truck series, but they just make so much more downforce that you're just really just going a longer distance around the track.
How was your weekend in the truck?
Growing pains, man. It was actually the same truck again. We've turned the same truck around 3 weeks in a row. That I ran at Bristol last year, finished 8th in the 77 Spire truck. We had the race playing in the lounge from last year. Qualified 20th, drove to 8th. Not a lot of attrition, but this was right after qualifying. Oh, look at that. We qualified 19th this year with the same exact truck, which clearly there's way more potential to be had with just a whole setup philosophy that we need to work on. It's a little bit on the mechanical side. It's a lot of bit on the body side. It's a little bit of just processes and pit crew and executing the race. And it was one of those where...
You were up front, though, at one point.
So we had a loose wheel, had to come back down first pit stop, put a couple more lug nuts, tighten it up. So we had to start in the tail. The 5 lug stuff is, Ryan, you're in the midst of.
I went and truck raced for that reason because they had a third Spire truck with Suarez in it.
And it's hard to find.
Young guys. I was like, hey, I'll do it. I don't want to do trucks full time. I'll do a part-time gig just to go help out. Bono was crew chief in.
And it's hard to find good guys. There's guys that are doing it their first time, or there's Cup guys who never practice 5 lugs and they just want to go get the paycheck.
It's hard to find guys that give a crap about it because they just do it for the extra
couple $100,
$800 to $1,000 they get paid to do it.
Yeah.
You can't take for granted that there's guys that make a living truck racing and they are putting everything they got into it. So when you get on that wall, you take the responsibility of all of those people building that truck.
Yes.
It's not just an extra payday.
I've got a very experienced group of guys, not only behind the wall, but going over the wall. And they were on the 25 truck when I drove to Darlington. Had a great night. We were probably +7 on pit road, got us in position right to the scene of the crash. So they swapped that crew off 25 to the 10, and they had okay day except for that. So that we were back. There was some cautions. There was one caution. Mostly everybody came. We stayed out because track position was super important. We stayed out with Kyle Busch, and we bled to 5th, and we ran 5th the rest of the time. And then NASCAR seems to be handing out these pulling out a line on restart penalties. They're Halloween candies. That was frustrating because trucks are hard to launch, right? You get a little squirrely. Guys spin the tires in front of you. You don't want to crash them. So you just give the guy a break and you blend and continue on, and they're up there looking at what they're looking at, and they dish out a penalty. So we went to the back again, fighting our way back up through there again. We get back to 14th maybe, and I'll tell you, Spire is the gift that keeps on giving because all of the chassis work on our trucks are done by them. We being colleague, get track bar mounts from RCR or something, and we supply Spire to put them on our trucks. Well, sure enough, the entire track bar mount on the chassis side ripped out of the truck. It was just okay. We have our list of punch things we need to do. We can't do the hard stuff right yet. We have to still do the easy stuff right. We got to get some speed in our trucks. So that was our Mopar 5-minute conversation there. So still just in the trenches, trying to find some grip there. But it's fun racing. It's fun being in the mix.
Man, the truck field from like all the way through the field is way stronger than what the Xfinity field is through 25th.
Yeah.
With Suarez, we started last, and we kind of parked it at 24th and just kind of stay there. You couldn't pass, but it's really, you used to be able to, back in the day with the truck, just drive right up to the top 5 with a Cup driver. It's not that way anymore. In the O'Reilly race, we had Larson fired off, took the lead, dominated the whole race. We ended up losing late, but Marty Lindley, it's the same thing with that. It's the same.
There was no right call there.
There's no right call, and Marty wore that. He felt really bad about it. But
so
what happens?
For context, if you didn't watch the O'Reilly race, Larson's leading, dominant. They had a 75 lap run, so the tires are shot.
90
lap run, caution 25 to go. Generally speaking, everybody else, the field has been chasing the 88 all day, is going to do opposite of what this guy does.
So the caution comes out 30 something to go. So you think you do the math. They run a couple. Everybody's been kind of harping on how many laps they run under caution, but you're going to go green with 25 to go.
I learned this too because I had a gripe when I talked to the Truck Series guy. There is a light in the race director's booth for TV, and it's green when you can open pit, or it's green when you can open pit road. That means they're back on the broadcast. Or if that block or if that light is red, they have to remain closed and keep just burning laps under caution.
Yeah,
so that's another thing I didn't realize.
That makes sense because they want to show the pit stops on TV, but it does make it tough to call a race. But so Marty comes down, he rolls the left front end, and I was like, man, there's not a lot of laps left. And he's like, man, I can't. If I don't come, everybody's going to come because they're just going to do the opposite. And I guarantee you, what Rodney Childress told Zilich is do the opposite of the 88. So in Marty's shoes, he did exactly the right thing because you have Kyle Larson.
Put him on the offense.
Put him on, give him 4 tires, and let him go eat.
Yep.